long ago that I began working with Tom Cochran, who is now an educational academic advisor teaching, and also before I am. He's also an academic advisor there and down there. We've worked on several projects together going way back, dealing with mostly mobile technologies, but other technologies as well, Web 2, any other technologies with students. And so it's my great pleasure to introduce Tom and Bickle and Laurent, who, when I asked how I should introduce you to, just Laurent. So, and they're talking about, they're going to share with you their mobile augmented reality. 20 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Dan. I guess what we wanted to sort of do was give you a bit of a practical overview of some stuff that's really easy to do with mobile devices, and we've been doing various contents with student groups. Really sort of looking at what is the added value of mobile devices. So as mobile filmmakers, you'll know you can do things that you can't do on bigger phones, bigger cameras. But there's also other stuff that you can do with mobile devices these days. They've got a whole range of sensors built into them. They've got a compass, they've got a GPS, they've got proximity sensors. There's a whole range of sensors there that you can interact with your content and your environment using mobile phones. So that's where we came up with this idea of augmented movie production. We were actually adding something to that whole concept beyond just recording on a small screen, a small device, and really linking into the idea of context and using the GPS and the compass built into the phone. So I've got some notes here which are on an Evernote, and if you've got a QR code reader on your phone, you can scan that if you like, which will take you to the notes page. So I'll just give you a sec if you want to quickly scan that.
And the best app to scan it is the iEnigma. If you want to download the best framework, iEnigma, it's a very good test area. So now you just need to go online and
so it'll give you a short link, and you can save that as a bookmark if you like. This is just a shared Evernote page, which is a web page basically. There you go. So a few people have obviously managed to scan it. Great. Sometimes if you're too much off angle, it may not scan. You might need to move into the center slightly. But anyway, for those who haven't managed to scan it, do you want to still try? A couple of people. Very short clicks. There it is. There's the short link underneath it. If you don't want to scan it, you can just write that down. So it is case sensitive, and the short link is is.gd/90UOG. So capital U, capital O, capital G, and a capital Y. Oh, very good, thank you. My lovely assistant is helping me here. So this is the paper put together by the three of us, myself, Laurent, and Bickle. So we will be interacting backwards and forwards a little bit together, hopefully. So here's the intro, really. It's about what is the added value that smartphones bring to mobile movie production. In this case, we're looking at context and augmented reality. So you've probably all heard about virtual reality and the Oculus Rift and Google Glasses, that sort of thing. Where part of Google Glasses, what you're doing is you're actually creating an alternative reality. You're not interacting with the real world, you're interacting with the virtual world. With augmented reality, it's further down the scale, where you're still actually interacting with the real world. What you're doing is putting digital information over top of your real world. And that's what AR is. It's augmenting the real world. And this is actually really easy to do. I quite like this quote from 2011. Thanks to advances in smartphone technology, augmented reality is accessible to a wide audience for the first time. In other words, anyone can do this just by downloading an app. A new class of AR browser and tools for authoring and hosting content makes it possible for almost anyone to do it. The interesting thing is, though, they also then did a review of who was actually doing this, particularly the implication. Basically, they couldn't really find anyone doing it. So even though it's really, really easy to do, no one's doing it. So I guess that's what we sort of thought, well, let's give it a go, let's give it a try, and have a blast, and maybe what we've done can inspire you to do something as well. So Wikitude. So Wikitude is one of these simple augmented reality browsers, and I'm just going to pull up the web page. As you can see, it works on a range of mobile devices. It's a free app that you can download. It works cross-platform, and it's actually been around for quite a while. It works on old Symbian phones, Nokia phones, which is where we started with it years ago, and it works on the latest smartphones. They're also using it to power augmented reality on various augmented reality glasses like Google Glasses and the Epson, Movario, etc. And you can go to their site, see some examples, and you can download the free apps, etc. So we're using Wikitude because it's one of the simplest of these augmented reality browsers. There's a whole range of them. There's Aurasma, there's Layer, there's quite a few out there, but Wikitude is a nice simple way to start. So some of the projects that we've done. Oh, that's interesting. Let's just go out of presentation mode, try again. So I'm using Evernote here to present, and it does seem to have a few funny things when you go into presentation mode. So some of the projects we've done, we did our first one really with architecture students in 2011. This was when I was still at Unitech, and we had a play with using Wikitude and with architecture students going around the city and geotagging photos of various architecture. So Laurent is trying to connect, but he's got the same problem I've got with my phone at the moment. But thankfully it is actually working on Vickles. I'll get Vickle to demo it in a sec. So we split the students up into teams, and we said, okay, here's some tools, and we explored how they worked and how they could use it, and then we wanted them to come up with some creative ideas on how to use these tools and create their own content for Wikitude. So Wikitude is a product owned by a company, but what they do is allow you to create the content for it. So you can create the content for the browser. You can't change the engine, you can't change the browser itself, but you can bring the content into it. And so, just as a couple of examples, two student projects here, we've got Archifail and Archiwonder. They created blogs to go with their projects. And this team went around the city and found examples of really, really bad architecture. And they geotagged it and discussed why they thought it was bad, and used Wikitude to then geotag these buildings. And this is my favourite one coming up. Photos just loading in. This building, which they liken to a cheese grater. Has anyone got an idea which building that might be? It might be in Auckland, really. No? Okay. Well, you might see the similarities. There's the building. There's the cheese grater. Building, cheese grater. That's the police headquarters here in Auckland City. And they thought that was really, really awful architectural designs. They chose that one in particular. So that was Archifail, and another group did Archiwonder, which was examples of really good architecture. Every time I'm switching back, it's going sideways, so that's not good. So let's get Vickle to demo Archifail on your phone. If you can connect for us. Oh, you're connected up there? Okay. So Vickle is now running Wikitude, the app on his phone, which uses the GPS and the compass. The students went around, geotagged these buildings, and then created this layer for Wikitude, which lets you view through the phone's camera, and the points that they've tagged then become clickable links on Wikitude. Gives you a map, so you can actually see where it is on the Google map. Gives you driving instructions or walking instructions, how to get there. They've also put a link to their blog as part of that point, and then you can go and actually read the critique of that building. So there's three different views. There's the camera view, which Vic was demonstrating. You see the little compass up the top. There's a list view, which gives you all the points that are created as part of this Wikitude world, and there's also a map view. So on the map, it takes you to a Google map. You can see where they've put their various points. and around the city. So that was one project. Our next sort of iteration was in a project we called iColab, which is about collaborating with various student groups around the world. And there's a group in Ireland, in France, in the UK, and New Zealand. And just load up a map here to show you a little bit of the context. So the interesting thing for the students really was about getting an idea of the context of the other student groups around the world, getting a sense of who they are and where they are. And this is Google Maps, so you can see most of the people were in the Northern Hemisphere, and we had a few down here, Australia, New Zealand. So it just gave the students a way of having a sense of context, geography, and connection, really. And you can see the list of the various people involved in this. Yvonne, Helen. Yep. Oh, there it is, just a little bit slow. And what we got people to do was to basically put links to their profiles on this Google map. And then we exported this to a KML file, and we used that as our content for Wikitude. So because Wikitude is about context, it limits your search to about 50 kilometers. So in Wikitude, people could only find their own profiles and a profile of their own classmates. To see everyone else's, they use the Google Map version to be able to see each other's profiles. So it's a way of sharing who you are and where you are and what you're up to. And if we click on another one, go down here, random one, this will be a student, not quite sure where they are. Computer science in Galway, and obviously a bit tired. So tired, so very tired. And that's probably not the best example, but some of the other ones had links to their work, etc. And it was a way of sharing their projects with other students around the world. So that was iColab, and we ran a workshop last year, which Dave was at. Dave was one of our star students, and we did something similar there. So let's see if we can find Dave on the map. Yeah. So where are you? David Keller, there we are. Oh. There we go. So there's Dave, and he's linked to a couple of his projects. Photo Urbanist. So we can click on the link, it'll take us to Dave's site, and we can see some of Dave's work. That's a great way of sort of sharing a bit more about yourself. It's a very nice visual site.
And they have a team listed.
So you could link with the film onto your Google profile now. Yeah. And the latest version we did of this type of project was with a group we called Moko 360, which Dan was involved in, and Laurent and a few other of us, which is about mobile collaboration around the world. So that was the idea of the name. Unfortunately, one of our groups is Spanish, and it just so happens that Moko means snot in Spanish. Which of course we didn't know, but unfortunately, our Spanish-speaking partner Felipe Cardona said that good for the things we all stick together. So some of the other ideas around context that we did here, we did a Twitter map. So people geotagging photos and other content on Twitter. You can bring the idea of context from your smartphone into things like Twitter maps automatically. And I quite like this map showing you some of the participation of this project, Moko 360, from earlier in the year. And not only the people involved in the project, but there's a whole lot of people in America who for some reason were actually interested in what we're doing and started tweeting about it as well. So it's interesting to see where some of these tweets have come from. And you can see the number. So Helen was obviously a bit of a Twitter nut. She's got 113 geotag tweets, and then Laurent was a bit slack with only 45. And as you go down, you can see how many tweets there were that were geotagged, which gives you some interesting sort of feedback on the project. But you can sort of see that some of the students really got into this. So a couple of the high numbers there are actually students involved in the project as well, not just the French students, yes. The French students actually really got on board with the idea of taking photos and sharing them. Yeah! Not so good with sharing video, but they were good with sharing photos. Yeah. So what I wanted to do just really, really briefly was perhaps give you a little bit of a demo of how to do this. And I've put down on here, this just seems to have stopped mirroring, so I'm just going to disconnect and reconnect. Coming. Oh, there we go. It just took a while. Obviously, the network's going a little bit on the slow side. Okay, well, it's lost my connection off the iPad. A little bit of a framework of how we've done these projects. It's actually really simple to do. So I wanted to really quickly show you how to do it, a live demo.
So 5 minutes by the old schedule.
That would be good if we can stick on the.
Okay. Yep, we should be able to achieve it in 5.
Yeah.
So basically what you do is create a Google map, add your points of interest to this Google map. So basically you link from point of interest to online content, to, video on YouTube, whatever. Export the Google map as a KML file. It's just click a button. Create a Wikitude developer account, which is free on the Wikitude site. Use the Wikitude publisher tool to create a Wikitude, what they call a Wikitude world. Import your KML file from Google Maps. So Google Maps is basically our content editor. And then you create your Wikitude world and publish it, and it's freely available. So pretty simple to do. So first step, create a map. So I've logged into my Gmail account, and then all of my maps become associated with my account if I create a new map. And this is where we wish we had turbo internet, but we don't.
Welcome to the Mina family as well. And look at that. Yeah, that's why I've got a response for that very nice website, truthfacts.com. I found some things on the right.
Go!
Something and you don't have any memory. Then it's my first one.
Okay, so anyway, what you do is you create a map, you add your points of interest to it, and then you go to Wikitude. So actually, let me just see, have I got one open?
Have it up.
Oh no, I think I have one open. No, I don't. Let me just try AT Wi-Fi because I don't want to use up your data.
No, it's
that's
tons.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I mean, this should be working. I don't know why it's not. So. Okay. Create new map. You start. There we go. Yes. Okay. So I just switched networks and that's working. So let's just call this. Give this a name. So give me a name. Give a description. Save that. And what I'm going to do is invite Nicole and Laurent to co-edit this map, which is what we do with students. So if I just add their names in here. And Laurent. So it's a bit like a Google Doc. You can share that this map with other people, and you can assign privileges to them. So I've just sent a note that they can edit that, and I'm just going to put a layer name here, so you can have up to 3 layers. This is going to be the coffee layer. I'm going to search for a coffee shop. So you can either drag and drop, or you can search. And there's Remedy Coffee. If I click on Remedy Coffee, I can then add it to my map. I have a point of interest there. If I click on it now, I can now edit that. So and I can use HTML to put links in. I can embed photos. I can link to a YouTube video, etc. and save that. So that's now a point of interest on that map. So hopefully Rwant and Vico are quickly adding their own points to that map as well.
So according to my phone, I'm in the middle of
So let me just add one more link on this map.
And for our international guest, Mangitoto is the tallest and youngest of this kind of document. So I'm just in the middle of it. Yeah.
Okay, so I've added another. Real Groovy is actually a record shop, but they have really good coffee as well. And they're pretty close to here, so this should work hopefully. And once we've got happy with our data, normally we'd have obviously more there. We click on this little button here, and it says export to KML. And choose different layers with the entire map. Download it. Saves the KML file. And then if I go to Wikitude, I can create a new world. I've already signed in, obviously. And okay, reload. And we want to give it a type, so it's a KML. Go and find our KML file that we've just gone and downloaded. There it is. Choose it. Give it a name. Okay. Description. Oops. Language, French. Give it a category, comedy probably, but or no, food and drink. And you can have multiple ones here. Fun and cool. Yeah, that sounds like us. Next, we need to create an icon. So I'm just going to really quickly create an icon here. And where's my desktop? Just made a screenshot. So the key thing with the icon is the format, which has to be 512 by 512 pixels, and it has to be a PNG. And I'm using a free piece of software, which is why it's counting down from 30 seconds. So you just have to think of something to say for 30 seconds while the software boots up. I like free because students like free. We're almost there, we're almost there. Okay, so I just took a little screenshot for the icon, and what I'm going to do is change that resolution, the size of it. So we're going to scale it. So you can make it 512 pixels by 512. So obviously I would do this a little bit nicer normally, but this will do for this demo really quickly. And I'm going to save it as PNG. So there's our world icon. Go back to Wikitude. So this is really the final step, is creating this icon. Go and find my icon, which is on the desktop. Choose. And hopefully we're demonstrating that to create this augmented reality layer is actually really simple and quick. And so something hopefully that you might want to try. And then our world is published. So if you want to have a quick search on Wikitude Vickle and pull it up, you search for Mina. It should come up as a world option. You're lucky. And you'll find 2 coffee shops on it. You got it? It's coming up. Okay. No, but it's not finding your GPS lock. Okay, so it's definitely finding it. There you go. So the Wikitube world now exists. If you're lucky enough to get a GPS lock, you should see Remedy Coffee and Real Groovy. And if you want a good coffee, you can get walking instructions to get there. So there we are. Very, very quickly, how to create some very simple mobile augmented reality. We'll just go back to the notes. And there are other ways to do this sort of stuff. We're using Google Maps as our editor. Awesome. Take a screenshot to prove it works. And tweet it. Yeah, just do a screenshot and then tweet it. That'd be great. So unfortunately, I've updated my iPhone and my iPad to 8.1.1, and in the process, it seems to have stuffed up Wikitude for me. So there's always a lag between iOS updates and Android updates and app updates to fix the connection back to the GPS, but that's life. So there we go. That was a really, really quick run over what we're doing, and I've also got the paper if you want to read about this sort of stuff. It's linked onto that Evernote. So more of the theory and all the guff there. Loading on our fantastic network again. So that's us.
Great, thank you. It's about 5 minutes now.
Yes, it works. Do you have any questions? No? Okay.
Oh, good, great.
I think, oh, yeah.
I was just going to ask, one of the early projects you did in architecture school, and I was just wondering if you had any experimentation with objects.
Object-based AR. Vickle's done a fair bit with some of his groups, mainly using Auresma. Wikitude now has an object-based option as well, so they have an SDK and they have several publishing tools. What I've shown you is the KML tool, which is the simplest, but they do object-based and data-based AR as well.
That's the waistline. We use so that skin for any target.
Yeah, he's a good target.
For sure.
So it uses object recognition by the camera, and you can define any object as the target to trigger either a video, a location, or whatever the allows you to do.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing with these AR apps is creating the content for them is actually really simple. So I guess the thing is, why aren't more people doing this? If you go and download Wikitude, have a search for the content that's there, it's just about all, find your nearest McDonald's or look for museums, really boring stuff. Why aren't people using this in education? I think people just a little bit afraid of how to do it, but as we've tried to demo, it's very simple to do.
Is it possible to link video files into location?
Yeah, they seem every update for Wikitube seems to work differently with links though. So, like in the Archifail layer, originally the links to their blogs were clickable and they work. If you from Wikitube to their blog, it's not working in the current version. So, yeah, they keep changing how the app interacts and stuff like that. But that's part of using a tool for free. Okay, so we're not being charged a developer fee. We're not being charged to use these apps in any way. So you know, it's hard to complain if something doesn't work because we haven't invested any money in it.
Just, it's a quick question that I'm just wondering, is there anything that is similar to this that is easily accessible and fast to use that can set up a geo trigger scenario?
When you walk into a location,
Yeah.
there's an app and an app for your laptop and desktop called GeoHopper. Yeah, GeoHopper. The basic GeoHopper is free, so you can set up your. It works a bit like an iBeacon. So it works by Bluetooth. When you get close with a Bluetooth device to your laptop or to a beacon, it will trigger an action. Quite cool. So you're looking there at more like iBeacon type technology. Yeah. You can do it by GPS, but you know, particularly inside, it's very hard to get a decent GPS block. So that's when you start moving sort of near field or Bluetooth technology to do that. But check out GeoHopper. That's basic version there. So when I walk into my office now, it recognises Bluetooth on my phone, and then my laptop will do something. At this point, just sort of says hello. But I could get it to run a script, and it could do a whole lot of things automatically as soon as I sit down at my desk. Not quite. Although there is an espresso, there is a connected an espresso machine that does have Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Well, really cool about the computer is quite accessible. I mean, there's a sort of function that with an AR feature thing they try to produce, but it's done like, you know, with some technology it's very difficult to make it happen. Well, this is interesting to sort of, you know, jump into.
Yeah, but and I guess as we've sort of experienced, because we're using freely available tools, they do get updated and SDKs and links and stuff change, but it's just part of life. So most of these projects are, you know, a short project within a paper, so as long as it works for that length of time, we're happy. But it's nice that some of the stuff we did 4 years ago is still actually accessible.
I'm interested in a creative application, beyond learning the functionality of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Particularly, you know, students, putting students in a semester, we've pedagogically delivered new technologies with new creative ideas that those embody, that those have. So I'm looking at that from the student government and all that.
Yeah. Well, I think sort of trying to build this into the curriculum, so it's not just a one-off short-term project is part of the key. So getting them used to the technology, and then being actually creative with that as a concept is part of the key. So I guess for me the exciting thing was when the architecture students came up with this idea of Archifail and Architecture, and another one came up with Explore Auckland, which was finding really interesting stuff that people didn't know was around Auckland City. And that student went to the Auckland City Council and said, hey, I can create this interactive augmented reality tour guide for Auckland City. How about you give me some money? And they hired him to do it.
If I may, the key idea, I'm just going to you know, before, for me, I just talked about those collaborations in UK, US, and that sort of thing. So there's sort of linguistic level of information. But if you've got a map here, it's a different way of perceiving that collaboration all of a sudden into the world, and you can see all the spots. So it's a different impact. When you look at your video and you say, well, I'm working with so-and-so in London, or in Stanford, or in Bogota, and when the students, they go on the map, and when they see the spot here, and when someone here likes something like here, there is a things that we found. They've got a self-esteem also, saying, hey, here I'm doing something that no one is talking about because of that specific culture or sensitivity. But with a group of people here that are supporting me and engaging with me on that side of the world. And it's also, so visually speaking, that mapping system is quite interesting. The feedback we received from students.
We also try to use data here with the students. Is another way to communicate together. It's real time. But what we found is really done. For users of data. For students who really don't know a lot about the
But I think that's also part of the reason for choosing tools that are simple as well, and they don't have to learn HTML or PHP or become a computer nerd to do this sort of stuff. I guess it's taken us a little while to work out how to do it really quickly and on the fly as well. But I think it's at that point, like that review said, 2011, that these tools are available, they are accessible, it's easy to do it. Now we just need people to use them.
Can you combine Wikitude with other technology, for example, iBeacons, and for example, in a conference setup, you use a Bluetooth word and look for people that have an iBeacon integrated in the stack, for example?
Yeah, I'm sure you could. It's just coming up with creative ideas. I think with the iBeacons, all you're doing is using Bluetooth technology. So if people wanted to buy into that sort of interaction, they just turn on Bluetooth on their phones, and then you have some sort of iBeacon app that would interact with them as they move around the conference. It's not really that difficult to do anymore. We did play around with NFC technology in 2008, but that was really difficult to do and involved computer nerds. Using iBeacons, now there's some really simple tools, a bit like Wikitude, that you can use to develop iBeacon interaction without knowing any code. Econdu is one tool.
That's great possibilities there.
Thank you.
So let's start our broadcasting here.